Good to see everybody. Thank you for being here. A little slower paced week for the House of Representatives following deadline week last week, at least from the floor standpoint. Still a lot of committee work, discussions on the budget, as well as meetings regarding the teacher pay raise, which is once again the House Majority Caucus priority. We're happy I'm personally happy, as well as the caucus, to see that the zero emission wind tax credit bill is advancing through the Senate Appropriations Committee, now moving to the floor to be ratified. And we've also had further discussions with Senate leadership this week on the path for a teacher pay raise this session, which have been productive, and looking forward to rolling out a detailed plan in the next week or two on that. What's concerning to me is that the legislature was not notified that those funds were going to be accessed by the executive branch. So we had no knowledge of that in the legislature. Did convey my sentiments that the legislature should have been notified of that activity, and was I hated to hear about it through alternative means. Those monies have been borrowed from the rainy day fund, and that they will be returned. We have encouraged the executive branch to move that money back into the rainy day fund as soon as immediately would be our preference. It's our body, it's our job as a legislature to appropriate money. We believe that the rainy day fund is, the accounting of it is there should be close to $250 million in that rainy day fund. That statutorily, that the executive branch can access Treasury funds, but there is a question as to whether the constitutional rainy day fund is a Treasury fund. Our House legal staff is providing us with, we've asked them to prepare an opinion and brief for us here in the House as to whether authority existed to access those funds or not. At the end of the day, I would expect the amount of money in the rainy day fund that's supposed to be there to be there. And then, once again, the legislature decides on that constitutional rainy day fund. It's very clear when we can access those monies, under what circumstances, and then the legislature makes the decision if those circumstances exist to access those funds, how much and when and if we will appropriate from it. I think it's worth looking back in history on how many times the April 1 deadline has been met for education, setting an education budget. It's important not only for education to know as quickly as possible what their budget will look like for the upcoming fiscal year, but they also have certainty that that number is not going to change. I've been briefed in the past that the last time that a budget was passed by April 1 for education, the governor vetoed it. So with all these concerns, I think it's more important, the April 1 deadline versus the time frame of when we have to adjourn session being the last Friday in May. It's obviously more important to get the appropriation and the full budget picture identified. So it's, once again, I would add that if you historically look at the House of Representatives, and especially with common education, we have always protected common education in our budget scenarios, even in good times and also in the tough times. Notwithstanding a revenue failure in the midst of a budget cycle, we have always held common education flat. And once again, I expect that common education funding for public schools will be protected in this budget process. I do not believe that will change in the least.